Welcome back to 9 to 5. Welcome to the B stream. We're getting into our mid matches for the day. We've already seen plenty of good action over the course of the day in the morning so far. Now we move on to alternate attacks versus Giants. The Germans taking on the Portuguese. I'm the Eternal J. I'm joined by Dweg for this afternoon's actually. It definitely feels like the morning considering I've just woke up. But yes, how are you doing, mate, my man?
Yeah, look, it's a little bit interesting today for this broadcast because normally when I come into a game like this, I normally know some of the teams, I know the positions, rotations, roles and things like that. But honestly, I haven't seen alternate attacks play for a really long time, and I rarely watch Giants play at all. Like, I've seen maybe a couple of times of them playing in advanced, but outside of that, I don't really know much about the Giants team as a whole. Yeah, you've got a couple of sort of like big names. I think Fox is certainly the one that everyone's eyes get drawn to, right? I mean, this guy was a superstar at one point.
Indeed, he was. He definitely is. I think the headliner of this particular squad of the Giants side. You know, definitely a team that has a lot of recognition across various different games. But here in CS, they're sort of sitting around that tier 2 position. They've tried their best with a couple of different a couple of different qualifiers in different tournaments, but never really had the same level of success as some of their other squads. So, you know, whether or not they'll be able to live up to the names that the Vodafone Giants really are able to give is yet to be seen for me. And whether they'll be able to live up to the expectations here in 9 to 5 is also another thing as well. They've only competed in one of the cups so far here in 9 to 5. That was the last one in 9 to 5, and they did go out in the Swiss system. So definitely one of those teams that are going to be, I think, struggling throughout the course of the Swiss stage today.
Yeah, you'd have to think so, right? You mentioned sort of some of the poor results for them. You have a look at like sort of that scene as a whole, right? Like the Spanish and Portuguese scene. Movistar Riders have basically just got rid of all their Spanish teams and they've picked up an international lineup, like, because that's the thing, is that there are some strong individuals, but it seems we've seen years and years and years of development coming into this scene, and it still hasn't given us that breakout team. So look, for the Giants, they didn't even make the playoffs of ESEA Advance. So no way to go further there. In 9 to 5, they looked pretty poor. Their only win was against Honoris, and even that I don't even think is a huge achievement. Whereas you look over at the other side and you look at alternate attacks, they've been a team that have been doing pretty well. We saw playoffs coming out from them in 9 to 5 1 and 2. Yeah, maybe the fifth one wasn't the best of showings. In saying that, though, they still got to the quarterfinals.
Indeed, they did. You know, I mean, you consider that 9 to 5 2 was only a top 12 placement for them. That's definitely something that they can ride home about. But I definitely feel like they've hit their peak at this stage. You know, you consider where they were at the summer, and they were taking top 4 placings, first places, second places in basically every tournament they were playing, and they were a really consistent team. But ever since probably about, like, I want to say August-ish time, things have fallen off a little bit. You know, they weren't able to make the last few weeks of like the Malta Vibes, for example, which is a tournament they were playing in consistently over the course of the summer. But you know, then they started playing on open qualifiers. They weren't able to make it very far. You know, the flashpoints, your IEM Beijing's and such like that. And you know, and it's sort of like fallen off the edge for them a little bit coming into this new tournament. And you know, they missed out on Cups 3 and 4 as well. So for them, like, things have been a little bit weird after the summer itself. So I'll be curious to see whether they can recapture that magic coming into the Swiss today. We're going to take a look at our vetoes between the Giants and alternate attacks. Inferno, Dust2, and Vertigo being picked between these sides. What do you make of it?
Well, straight away, I think alternate attacks have come out absolutely banging on this veto. And the reason I say that is, first of all, Giants always pick Inferno. They pick it every single time they're playing against any other team. Dust 2 is a pretty staple map for alternate attacks. And Vertigo, at least you look back about 6 months ago, it was one of their best maps in the map pool. Alternate attacks were one of the only teams in Tier 2 that once Vertigo came out into the scene, they were picking it against everyone. And no one else was doing that when it first came out. So getting Vertigo out in the pool for a third map, I think, is a big mistake from the Giants, and I would have much preferred to see them play Mirage. Even though they don't have a great track record on Mirage, I think they may have had a bit of an easier time on that map. So look, for alternate attacks, I mean, I'm looking at this and thinking, even on Inferno, they're a decent team. They're a much better team on Vertigo.
I mean, they're very well practiced over on the Giants side of Inferno, which is the main sort of like sticking point for me. The fact that they've got this map in one of their default picks, one of their common sort of played maps. Like, it's easily the most played map for them in the last 3 months. 13 times, a far cry from any other map so far in the pool today. So, like, you know, just seeing where they are at in terms of like that map pick, it definitely is a positive entity. But you're right about alternate attacks also being a pretty decent Inferno team, even though they haven't played it as often as previously, even though they haven't won it as often previously. Like, it's still still a 45% win rate on it. You know, that's in the grand scale of things, that's not too terrible, and that's their lowest win rate map. You know, coming into Dust 2, you can feel like alternate aTTaX are a very good Dust 2 team. Vertigo being that main map as well, that teams have tried to ban against them, so they haven't had many results on it. But again, you consider where they were when Vertigo first came into the pool, and they were one of the rare few teams adopting it into their playstyle, and they made it work. You know, they were among sort of like those tier 2 squads just on the precipice of making it into the top 30 that adopted Vertigo and made it work for them essentially.
Yeah, and thinking about alternate aTTaX as well, I think they had a pretty disappointing performance last night against PAX, going down 0-2, not even taking a single map from them. I don't know if you can make the late game a bit of an excuse, right? Because they were playing on the mainstream, and because some of the earlier games in the afternoon were so long, it meant that they were playing, you know, at 9 o'clock at night. So I don't know whether that's an excuse that could be called, but you would certainly favor them to be favorites over a side like PAX. So for alternate aTTaX, I'm really hoping that they're coming into today's game and just saying, you know what, we probably shouldn't have lost last night. Yeah, you can make this excuse. Yeah, you can't. Whatever it is, we're going in today. We want to fire up. We're certainly the much stronger team in this series. Let's try and put on as much pressure as possible and just show what we can perform at, because we know we can consistently make playoffs.
Absolutely, you know, they absolutely can. The problem is, again, just trying to recapture that magic. We talked a lot about
Exactly.
SG Pro yesterday, talking about them and their you know, their run throughout the summer and how it was, you know, okay at first, but then now it's sort of like dropped off a little bit. And you can sort of a similar sort of thing about the alternate aTTaX, trying to recapture that magic and make those top runs into those playoffs. But I think they can do it. I think they definitely got the potential to do it here in the tier 2 scene. I feel like the question really for me is this little dry spell just a dry spell, or have they already hit their peak?
Well, another thing as well, you've got to think that Scrunk was their coach, and then all of a sudden, Dude, their analyst, decided to step down, and then Scrunk went, you know what, I'm going to go back into a playing role. So he joined sort of earlier towards the year, and that's when we saw some really great results from them. I thought Scrunk was reading the game really well. I mean, this is like 9 months ago, but when I remember back to that time, it seemed like they were in a bit of a honeymoon period. Results are really good. Individuals were showing up. And now recently, I mean, there's even an interview from DK a couple of weeks ago saying that 2 players from alternate aTTaX of Cressy and Slacks are going over to Sprout. So for alternate aTTaX, maybe some of the players are thinking, well, are they going to give it 100% if we know that they're leaving, or are they not leaving? You know, things like that really start to play into the minds of a team, because you're unsure. Are they coming here to stay? Are they coming here to play? Like, what's going on? We don't know at this stage. But I wonder how that's sort of playing in the minds for alternate aTTaX.
Yeah, and you know, in that respect, like alternate aTTaX can be considered a bit of a feeder team in the German scene. Like, you know, a lot of the squads at the top end, like Sprout and your bigs, will be looking at this squad and trying to see if they can find those next couple of good players. But in the tier 2 scene, isolated alone, like, you know, you can consider one of alternate aTTaX to be a pretty respectable sort of squad in that kind. And you know, whether that'll have a massive impact on their own playing style is obviously like a very intangible sort of aspect that we can discuss all day and never come to a conclusion. Essentially, the only way we're going to be able to find out whether that is the case is just to jump in server and see how well they'll do. So hopefully we'll get the chance to take a look at the first map of Inferno in a short few moments time. But yeah, no, I think all signs do point to the to the victory here for alternate aTTaX, which will set themselves up as well for qualification in the next round of the Swiss.
Yeah, look, it does. And for alternate aTTaX, I think that all it comes down to is maybe not so much finding the consistency, because we've seen over the 9-5 tournaments, they have been consistent. But you're absolutely right. We saw earlier on into the year, they were getting first place victories and getting some decent prize money, getting opportunity for boot camps and things like that. So for alternate aTTaX, it's maybe trying to raise that bar of consistency and saying, yeah, you know, we can make playoffs every single time, but can we go to the semifinals? Can we go to the grand finals? That's some things that they've got to be really looking at. And I think the player you've got to be looking at in that sort of situation has got to be Slacks. Their AWP player. He's been really on point. 21 years old, hasn't had a lot of playing experience before joining this side, but this year he's really stepped up, and he's been a name that honestly I wasn't hearing too much about up until recently.
Yeah, and you know, like he's definitely been. I don't want to say one of the unknown elements for this squad, but definitely one of the guys that you look at and you would have thought that some of the other players would have been able to step up and fill those big shoes for me. But you know, just talking about the Giants gaming success, we talked a lot about alternate aTTaX so far today. You know, obviously we talked about Fox being him being the headline act for this lineup. Who are the other guys in this squad? Because honestly, I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, look, I've seen a little bit from NoBJ when he was playing on Exploit, and he was impressive. He was, for me, could have been like a rising star in the Portuguese scene. And just looking at his numbers since joining Giants, it does seem like he is one of those sort of star players. And then you've kind of got some unknown entities. You've got PR, OBJ, and Riz, who played a little bit on Offset and Alien Tech, a couple of other Portuguese teams. But honestly, Jay, I don't really know much about these guys. It's really only Fox and NoBJ that I've ever seen perform at a pretty decent level in the past. I mean, Fox is now 34 years old, one of the oldest players that are still playing at this kind of level. The only one I can kind of think of is maybe Taz that's playing on Onerous.
Well, the Giants, obviously, in their map pick, will get the pistol opportunity. Go to their CT side to start things off. So I'm going to get your predictions on this one, Blake. For me, I can look towards probably a 2-0 to alternate attacks. Giants will definitely have to take Inferno, I feel like, if they want to try and push this one past the edge.
You know what, Jay? We don't normally agree on predictions, but I'm with you today, actually. I'm going the 2-0 for the alternate attack side as well. I think Inferno could be really close, and I'm really hoping that the Vodafone Giants can put up a really decent fight and try and take it down to the wide, try and get to double digits plus. But for me, alternate attacks are just such a stronger team that I think going into this series, they've got the potential to 2-0, especially after having a pretty disappointing performance yesterday against Pact.
There we go. Pistol round between Giants and alternate attacks. A lot of work needs to be put on by the Portuguese team as the CZ comes out for OBJ. A HE in. Look at Nope already taking a look down towards the second mid area. They're going to see one player out towards the long position, and it will be Fox to open up the kill counts. Frag bound on Stefan. Slacks will fall, Scrunks will fall, and Nope and Fox will just shut them all down. Crossfire locked to the 1v4 for Crest. This should be a pistol for the Giants.
Oh, I tell you what, that is absolutely shut down towards the brackets control. Cressy's the last one left just to try and do some damage. But my goodness, alternate attacks ran into a really heavy stack, some really great crossfires. Fox and OBJ being able to find up a couple of kills. PR chiming in right towards the end there. Very good stuff coming out for the Giants. And for them, all it's about is redemption, Jay. We saw in 9 to 5-5, they went out in the group stage, didn't have a good performance at all, only winning a single best of 3. Coming into Swiss, I don't think they'll be one of the favorites to be able to make it into the playoffs, but at least showing us some presence, at least trying to make this as close as possible. And for alternate attacks, we're actually seeing a force buy coming in, even without a bomb plant. They're going for the Deagle upgrade.
Yeah, plenty of hand cannon pistols in at this stage. The Kevlar, the helmets and such. But they're getting ripped apart by the SMGs. Nice and efficient here for the Giants side. PR with that opening kill down towards the banana position. And first casualty is Stefan. Nice and quickly here for the Portuguese team. And Slacks backed up towards the mid position, trying to find something out here on the CT cap, but nothing will really give them any real way in, I think.
Giants have actually used a fair bit of this util in the early round, so maybe there's a chance that alternate attacks can just go for a bit of an explode. A few smokes on this T side to just try and get them into a little bit of brackets control. And there's 4 players here from the A bomb side. They've only got a single player towards Broken Wall, the PR.
And one player over at the quad position, OBJ. Standing by to try to take out Meerbit next to face up here for alternate attacks. Time is ticking. They're going to have to make their way into some sort of map control. And it looks like it will be leaning over towards the banana position. The flash is over. Slacks and Cressy leading the charge, but they have to make their way in soon. The timer will run low and alternate attacks will have no money at all. So here they come. Flash over. SMG back over towards the first box. Fox going to get that kill. PR with another good kill back on Stacks. Move it to 4 and Scrunk left on in a 1 versus 5 situation. Closed in upon by the back lines here of Fox. One good Eagle shot does come through, but no more than that. So 2-0 on the start. Giants with a very good start so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Looking pretty comfortable, which is always nice to see, especially against aTTaX, not losing too many players. Only one goes down. Keep this a little bit more of a bonus round as well. Try and get those MP9s to farm up as much money as possible to try and get that AWP in the hands of Fox. Pretty much straight into that first gun round, I would expect. Alternate attacks, only upgrading a couple of pistols here or there, but this should be a relatively easy third round up for the Giants.
Jump face from Riz will take some damage. Minimal amounts of the pistols just put up here by the T side line. Nothing really going to present itself to the T side forces. Alternate attack's being very passive about this situation. You can see how little map control they've really got. It's so far back in towards the T spawn, so nothing else going to be seen for the moment here. No contact established. It is very basic positions being posted up here by the Giants side. They probably overwhelm as soon as they get contact against any of these pistols because it is an eco round, and just alternate attacks trying to see if they can bait in information on those SMGs and try and avoid them as much as possible. But leaning in towards brackets, that long face from Fox going to get himself some serious money if he can line them up.
I'll tell you what I like as well is there's not really any over-aggressive plays coming out from the Giants. I mean, they could just decide to push Banana if they wanted to. And that's actually what's going to happen from PR with that MP9. Fox now getting involved with the action with the SMG. And from here, alternate attacks are just going to get swung on upon. Bomb gets dropped. MP9's getting so many kills. One player goes down of PR, so it is a pretty easy cleanup in the end. Fox almost goes down to 13 HP for him. That could have been a little bit worrying, but now a chance for AWP upgrade. PR can drop one over to Fox if he wants to chuck over that MP9 back. And let's see if they go for that AWP investment. Certainly that's where Fox is playing at his strengths, the in-game leader and AWPer of this team. In saying that though, Jay, even though Fox has always been known for a main AWP, I actually have seen OBJ on this team AWPing a fair bit. So watch out for that main AWP being chucked around a fair bit between the two players.
There we go, the double AWP setup. Definitely eyes on, but for now, Fox just playing out to the passive A contact here. Looks like they were going for a bit of a short lean from the CT side. No contact from alternate attacks. Will try and push through. AK's on the AWP out for Slacks. Over on the alternate attacks side, the full gun rounds coming in for the T side forces. Is passive aggressive for the moment. They don't want to extend so far as to try and force an opening kill, but they'll need this map control for the execution. Nades around, flashes and smokes. Got PR to deal with first and foremost. They're going to fight in. Skunk Court jumping up, and the crossfire here to Banana is real good for the Giants.
Oh, what an opening coming out towards the top of Banana. Alternate attacks just not even finding anything there. Skrunk and Stefan dealt with. And from here, alternate attacks are just on a massive back foot. They really need to try and just fight their way out of this situation. Hopefully get some aggressive duels from the Giants where they can just take some of these one-on-one trades. But even for Cressy, look how far away he is from the rest of his teammates.
Cressy tagged by an 82 HP. Just, again, feels so passive-aggressive here from alternate attacks. They want to push up, but they also don't. And they want to go for an execution, but they also want to play the default, it feels like. You have to wrap that third player in towards Banana and go for the B hit at this stage. They've got the bomb on the back of Slacks here towards the aggressive Banana position, and they're backing off.
Saving.
I think they're going to save their weapons. Yeah, alternate attacks. Just so touch and go so far here in this map up. I wasn't expecting it to be this kind of a T side. I would have expected a little bit of confidence coming out from these guys, but not to be so far here. 4-0.
Yeah, and while we got a little bit of a moment, Jay, obviously our great sponsor at Midnight being a bit of a betting partner for us, they actually have got a deal that I only just noticed today. If you're able to guess who is going to be able to get the most kills in the series, you get a €25 bonus. So I'm going to ask you, who would you think is going to get the most kills in the series? And then I'm going to say who mine is.
Oh, wow. We're looking at the current numbers, and I'm kind of looking at either Nope or Fox at the moment. I think as soon as the AWP gets locked on, then maybe Fox might be able to shine on this one. But given the way that the Giants are playing right now, in this series or in this map?
In the series.
Ooh, that's going to be a bit more difficult then. Oh,
I'm going Stefan for this one.
I was looking at Slacks actually for the alternate attacks.
Yeah?
I'll have a Fox or Slacks if I had to pick between either two sides in the grand series overall. Well, let's say a rifle rebuy, of course, for alternate attacks to try to get some kills in for round 5, a forced investment around these saved weapons. 2 CTs over to the cross here on the Giants side. PR moving up towards the site itself, ready to receive that. Nades on point. It actually lands towards the far wall as opposed to bouncing off and going towards the main entrances. So smokes at the stall for time, but alternate attacks have defined their push.
Oh, this is going to be a BXE for sure. Great counter utility, though, from the city side. But no, the Incendio actually doesn't land at all, and Stefan's able to get 2 kills on the entry. PR's now the last one left. What is happened here at B? My goodness, what an explosive round from alternate attacks. And Giants had 3 players on B. I'm not sure what happened to that incendiary, whether it popped in the air or it landed on a smoke or something like that, but it didn't land at all. And from there, as soon as the flashes came into the site, Giants were just completely blind, and Stefan just gets an easy couple of kills on the entry.
And Fox just left to save. The flashbangs placed perfectly there for alternate attacks, and just contrast that to the defaults there.
Yeah.
How confident that was from the German side. That's the first on the board for the T side. Forces, of course, Giants have no choice but to save this AWP on Fox's part. Have plenty of cash to go in for another buyback, so I'd imagine we'll see that coming in from them here. See the M4's out, and maybe even a double AWP setup if OBJ wants to take that. You talked about him rocking the main AWP, so... AUG in for Riz. And no double AWPs coming in, just automatics.
Okay. Yeah, look, I'm not sure if it's map dependent, but certainly that game against LDLC that Giants played yesterday, I saw a little bit of AWPing from OBJ over on train, so it could be a little bit map dependent. Maybe if they start losing a couple of rounds and start losing some momentum, maybe that's when the double AWPs start to come out. But for alternate attacks, I think that was certainly a much needed round for them, just to kind of get them back involved, Jay. Like you said, their defaults have been looking nowhere near as confident as that execution did. So maybe for alternate attacks, just going in for a straight Exy again might be the best option.
The alternate attack side. It's again going to look towards the B lead, and this time Fox is going to back up that B defensive as a result. The slow facing gives Slacks the opening opportunity. Flashbang is going to be good, however, for Nope to get the first frag and the second. Mirbit finds that trade, and still got PR picking back up the AWP, drops that bomb, and calls in for backup as well. He knows that he's got that out into the open, but the second teammate is yet to respond to it. Alternate attacks could be rotating back, put that utility back in, but a smoke down towards Cross will have definitively defined the push. It's all left to PR in the back lines of the site, firing away, known towards New Box. The Molotov will come back from the CT side, and PR will get one before he burns. All on Cressy now. Bomb in the midst of fire. We'll have to grab that bomb. Try to see if he can get it planted eventually towards his B side, or go for a wraparound towards A. If he does that right now, he'll have to run for it.
I tell you what, he's got to make a bit of a move on here, and you're absolutely right about running for it. And for Giants, I mean, look at how OBJ is not rotated off of the side. I don't know if Cressy's going to expect him to be this close. 15 seconds really left on the clock, and now the footsteps are going to be heard. They can bring that second man in for rotation. Cressy just going to go in for the bomb plant. OBJ is going to swing out. Cressy. Oh, OBJ was a little bit sloppy to that, Jay, but he still finds the kill and the important round up for the Giants squad. And I tell you what, 5-1 up for Giants on their own map pick. Things are looking pretty good for them so far.
Yep. Very confident. It is their map pick, and well, you definitely would expect to see confidence coming out from the Giants side again. This is their map pick, one of their highest played maps in the pool. We gave obviously alternate attacks the credit of their own sort of map results, but as I mentioned, you know, like if there was one map for Giants to win in this series, it definitely would be Inferno. And 5-1, go particularly well on the CT side. Alternate attacks back up on the buy once again. AK is out with that bomb plant bonus, so they cannot afford to justify it at this stage. The Orb's back in for Slacks so far. The frag counts are a bit minimal, however, for alternate attacks. He hasn't really gotten started so far in this matchup.
And one of the scariest elements for me is that Giants have an absolutely banging T side, Jay. Their T side on Inferno looks fantastic. And in the couple of chances that I've seen them play T side Inferno, they look so much stronger on T than CT. So for me, that's worrying because we've already got a 5-1 lead for Giants, and they are looking pretty impactful. They're looking pretty threatening. I mean, you even look at the apartments play coming out. Look at the aggression and the map control they're taking away from the T side.
And alternate attacks need to step up soon. Have shown the confidence in that flash setup over towards the B execution. Could have gone for one right there, but they're going to opt against it and just leave Nope to rotate PR into position and hold the B defensive. Wraparounds are coming through towards the mid position, though. That bomb could make its way towards A, and with 4 players set up for the split, it looks like that's going to be the case.
A little bit of a misread, it looks like, coming out for the, oh my goodness, the CT side. And now for Fox, he's completely alone. He's trying to fall back, but Cressy's got an opportunity to swing. Fox just gets out of there and brings a teammate back from Arch as well.
Flashbang turned away, Incendiary's out. Good flashback in for the T side line. He tries to get out of dodge here and get towards the site to try and hold from a close range angle. Misses the shot on the first player and overwhelmed by the second. Shots back as Slacks looking towards long from quad, gets tagged up, and a 5-on-3 situation will ensue. The CTs opt to just go ahead and save it. Makes a lot of sense. The rifles are more valuable in this very difficult retake.
Yeah, and I think that was just a bit of a misread and maybe a gut feeling coming out for the Giants. There wasn't really too much B presence shown, Jay, and they ended up rotating a third player over. And for there, it meant that the two players towards the A bomb site were aggressive in apartments. So as soon as Cressy finds that first opening pick, it means that for Fox, he can't stay around. He needs to try and fall back. And as soon as he was able to get out of the apartments and into that short position, he was just flashed over and over and over again. And it made it so difficult for him to even be able to get a bit of a shot off without being blind, Jay.
And the second round on the board for aTTaX, but will they follow suit with another? That has been their main issue so far in this matchup. They got that one good round earlier on. They weren't able to connect a second in a row. At the very least, they'll keep 5 players alive, so they will have some decent money to work with going into the 9th round, assuming they all get stomped out of here by the Giants. So there are a couple of fallback options here for the T-side camp, but how will the CTs adjust? They have done well at doing so far. Molotov's in past and behind the broken wall. The AWP of Fox looking for the tight angles on towards the apartments here, but it's no apartments leading from the T's. They're looking mostly in towards the mid control. They will hear Fox coming out. Flashbang's going to try and see if they can overwhelm him. No, smokes up, keeps them blind, but he do reposition. Take down OBJ as well. Riz gets 2 frags to return to a 3-on-3 though as they line up towards the short control. Scrum's got HP. That's going to be a 3K, not quite the quadra. Mirbit turns it back to a 2-on-2, and the Molotov should force the Giants away. I say that, and Nope J comes up with a face forward, gets dealt with. Mirbit gets himself 3 and recovers the round for aTTaX.
Oh, that was crazy coming out from both teams, actually. We saw aTTaX getting some really quick plays. Fox's scope was heard on that AWP out from brackets, and I don't know if that was an immediate reaction because of the scope, but they went in quick towards brackets. Fox didn't find anything with that AWP, and then all of a sudden, Riz steps up massively. We haven't really seen anything from him so far on the City side. Been pretty underwhelming so far. A big 3K for him, Jay, and then all of a sudden, in 2 versus 2, they just run through the moto smoke, and Mirbit's ready for it.
The half-buy got come through from Giants as a result of this. aTTaX have finally broken their backs. Portuguese squad. Slack's now going to see them coming up to their mid position. They've got Cressy here towards the apartment's entrance. Unfortunately, they will get away completely unscathed for that German side. So 4th of the board now, up within 1 of the Giants side. But that was an eco, so expected to clean that up. And now the rifles can come back in. No AWP for the CTs this time.
Yeah, money's just not really there, is it? I mean, PR could have gone glass cannon, but I don't think he AWPs at all. So they're just going to go in for the M4s. A single kit up for Riz. Pretty limited on a couple of players when it comes to utility. And for Giants, Jay, I'd maybe like to see a little bit more map control being taken from them. We saw in a couple of the early rounds, they got deep in towards Banana when it was up against the Ecos. When it comes to the gun rounds, though, they've been really passive. The only aggressive stance we've seen from them is having that triple apartments play.
There's a quadra facing towards the mid control, trying to get that brackets position. Smokes out towards either side, and Moto comes up. They know that Fox is there somewhere. Flash their way through. He takes out 1. Cressy finds that trade somehow. Could be a split playing towards the B side actually with these smokes. The bomb's going to make its way out towards Banana. Stefan is alone. If he gets taken out, a lot of the setup for aTTaX will get denied here, and they're going to try and press forward for it. He completely dry faces, gets traded back by Nope, but Slacks comes up with the AWP pick and turns it around. Now they have the B side, and that split play did look a bit awkward on the setup for aTTaX. I could have seen that falling apart very quickly.
Oh, Slack's missing a pretty easy AWP shot, but he does hit the flick in the end onto OBJ. And yeah, you're absolutely right about that. That didn't really look too confident, and I'm honestly a little bit surprised. I don't know whether that is just wild CS or maybe a world of confidence, but they go in for the split B towards long, and as soon as that get re-smoked, rather than waiting it out, they just decide to push forward. They get a one-on-one trade, a really important kill from Cressy, and then from there, the 2 players towards the CT side that are playing at the broken wall and sandbags, they don't trade out evenly. A big kill goes the way of Slacks. If he would have fell, that would have been bomb control going the way to the CT side. So although it's a 3v1, there was a point where that was actually looking like Giants could have converted in it, or at least put themselves in an advantage position. 5-5, we're tied up. This is becoming quite a bit of a streak now for the Germans.
Yeah, even standing as well for the Giants' early start. Alternate attacks bringing this one back for a moment. Will they be able to maintain that position? They'll be able to extend a lead potentially. Well, there's probably an opportunity to start up that lead here with the halfway coming in around the AK of Riz. CZ's in, Kevlar on minimal amounts, no head Kevlar, obviously. Only one smoke of utility. So this should, on paper, be a cleanup for alternate attacks. But we've seen how well these upgrade pistol rounds can go in the past.
Oh, double nade towards Boiler. Look how much damage that does onto OBJ, down to 11 points of health. And alternate attacks, I mean, they could potentially be running into a bit of a crossfire towards this apartment's play. There's two players here from the Giants, and it's all about trying to get these pistols up close and personal.
Fox gets that first. OBJ is going to get overwhelmed eventually by the Molotov coming in. Cressy takes out Fox next up. Nope, Jay back over to the app's entrance over at the over at the balcony. And Cressy will get that kill nice and easy. The AK still in play for Riz though. He could be the linchpin player and he's going to try and make his way up, but Stefan catches him off, shuts him down. AK gets recovered by PR and a 1 versus 4. His best bet is to say that's exactly what he's going to do. Rotate right back out. And this will be a 6th for the alternate attacks.
This has got to be attack pause. Like, it's got to be, right? I mean, Giants got off to a really great start. They're up 4-0. A round went the way of alternate attacks. Then Giants found their 5th. And now they have just lost complete control. OBJ's been struggling on the frag count. So has Riz. It really seems like it's OBJ, Fox, and even PR that have been stepping up in that department, trying to hold on to this AK. You had Skrunk that got very, very aggressive even before they cleared out the bomb site, trying to get towards that broken wall. So there's a really good chance here that they can go for the hunt. If they can take this AK out of play, that would actually mean quite a lot going into the next round.
Flash up, PR takes face, does get Skrunk, 3 more to face, 4 seconds to survive. They double face him, they could take him down, and yes, they sacrificed that one rifle to get one away from the Giants' side, so that's extra firepower they can take away. I think that trade was worth it for the alternate attacks. They've got plenty of cash. They can rebuy in with the AWP on Slacks, drop an AK back for Skrunk as well. So much money to work with.
Yeah, they lose a lot, that is true, but at the same time, they also gain a fair bit. They try and limit the economy for the Giants. They make sure that the AK is not going to be in play for the next round, and a little bit of extra money has to be invested into another rifle rather than just holding on to that rifle. The alternate attacks, I mean, you've got to think in this position, Jay, with how much money they've got in the reserve, they're pretty much fine to buy for the rest of the half at this point.
I wouldn't say exactly the rest of the half. Still 3 rounds in a row. If they were able to get shut down by Giants in every single one, they might have a bit of an awkward buy for round 15. But the point about the economy being bolstered is still there for alternate attacks. Like, they've just got quite a fair amount the Giants are going to have to work to try and dismantle. They work effectively, they can do it, but a minute to go to try and get the start here on round 12. Good shot there from Cressy to fake out the idea that he's left the apartments area. They're going to lean in towards the B play once again.
Tell you what, every single time they've taken a banana in some of the mid rounds, in probably like the last 5 or 6 rounds, Jay, they haven't taken any nade damage, anything from incendiaries. So for alternate attacks, every time they try to fight from banana, it's just been so simple. They haven't lost any damage, but it's going to be a fake. They lean over towards the broken wall position, but now they're going back to the A bomb side, and there's still 3 players here.
They're all locked out towards the short control, which is where alternate attacks have attacked for the most part here in this matchup. Cressy will be first to fall. There's Fox in with that frag. Smokes up. Where's the flashbang? Just try facing up, and Skrunk takes the bomb in first. Stefan will get the trade back. Riz lines up. 2 frags traded back by Slacks, but now he's alone. 15 seconds. 1 player back towards Pit. That AWP shot of Fox decimates the last. And again, scrappy from alternate attacks. Where was the flashbang peak?
Well, the thing is, that was pretty scrappy, and I think what it came down to was a fair bit of counter utility from the Giants side. We see an incendiary going down and then a smoke, and when the time is so low, sometimes you can just feel pressured just to go for the wide swing rather than just trying to wait out another flash and using a couple more seconds. They just try and all peek out dry together, and they just don't find the trades. Alternate aTTaX, maybe just getting into their own minds a little bit there, Jay. I mean, they could have committed to B with sort of 40 seconds left on the clock. Instead, they go for a late rotation and get caught off at A.
Oh, that nade on Skronk again. The CT's doing all the early damage to the alternate aTTaX camp. He comes out worse for wear for it. Nope tagged up to 93 meanwhile, so he's doing absolutely fine. And the aTTaX, I don't know how to play this one out. Again, we're back to this sort of weird passive-aggressive default where they look like they want to push up towards B, but no one's got the bomb, and they pick it up. They're going to push a second player and push that bomb back out towards the mid controls. This banana aggression has just worked out for nothing in the end. Like, I don't know what the plan is for alternate aTTaX. It feels so scatterbrained at the moment.
Well, I actually really like this default. It's trying to take as much map control away. It means the Giants can't retake top banana. It means that they can leave a lurk here to try and get info when it comes to the rotations. Now that molly out towards quad has given them the info that two players were playing towards the short angle. So just working with the information, I mean, there's even a chance in the late round that Stefan can stay here towards Broken Wall and try and bring a third player over to B from the rotate of A.
The last second here for alternate aTTaX. Gonna have to come through with 30 seconds left on the clock. This hasn't worked well for them so far in this matchup.
Back to B.
No, it's not. They're rotating away from the B side. No, up towards the brackets area. Smokes down to Moto. 18 seconds left. They barely is making their way into the site now. And surely the rotation is going to get called in. They're going to hear one player out towards mini pit. AWP watching 10 seconds. They've got to go now here, alternate aTTaX. Faking out the AWP to take him down. Flashbang in. Scrum going to go for the bomb plant. This is the chance for Riz to strike. And he takes him out at the very last second. That's the one kill they needed. They will get Fox to drop in the end, but alternate aTTaX, man, they let that timer run way too low.
Yeah, they did. They needed to commit earlier. I don't know what... You can't run it down to 10 seconds and try and just force in the bomb plant. They haven't even had a chance to be able to clear out that side. And yeah, maybe if they able to get that bomb down without it being denied, they put themselves in a good position because they got good trades. They had a 4-on-2, but the time was just not on their side. Alternate aTTaX, they're just running this clock too low. I think they're waiting for more aggression. They're waiting for more information to come. And we've seen a couple of times that the clock has just really hurt them in multiple rounds so far in this first half.
And there's Fox back in with another good kill early on. Stefan to drop here towards the banana control. 3 players were stacked up on B. They're going to make their way around. And go back towards the A stack. Smokes on, much earlier execution quicker, this time. They're going to be ready to go for the hit. 1 player on site, 1 player at pit. Smokes up early from Riz to get himself a bit more cover. OBJ on site. Another player coming back. Alternate aTTaX, they put all the execution commitment, but they just fall back. They stop going.
Yeah, double pump. I don't know about that. Like, how much util have they drawn out? Maybe they forced Fox out into the open. Merbert's trying to hold for this boiler angle. Alternate aTTaX, you almost felt like that was the opportunity to just commit with the util. They've been able to at least hold on to a fair bit to go for the double pump execution, and now they're just waiting for an aggressive play. And for Fox, he's just not overextending. He's holding quite a tight angle.
Happy to sit back and wait for them. They know that they've got a majority presence here towards the A bomb site. Rotations coming in towards B. That smoke up towards main, though. Is that going to make alternate aTTaX change their mind? No, they're going to go for the hit. Here towards the B site. Again, timer is extremely low. If J or PR get these frags on the bomb plant at that right moment, that's going to be perfectly placed there. Nades up, going to return fire. Flashbangs in, going to keep them blind. Cressy and Scrunk burning to low. 15 seconds, though, back towards the open. Flashbang could catch him, and PR's going to try hold his own. We'll get Cressy. PR traded back by Slacks. Riz comes up with 2 good frags. And Mirbit, well, he'll try and fight for this one, but the backstab's in. And again, alternate aTTaX running this clock way too low.
I think there's just some poor reads from alternate aTTaX. First of all, they haven't baited out any of the util at B because they set themselves up for A and then rotated back to B. They didn't have that lurk in the early round to bait out any kind of incendiaries or anything. So when they go for the execution, it gets re-smoked, and then just when they're about to go, they put in a couple of flashes and another incendiary. And mass amount of damage goes over to the alternate aTTaX side because they have to push through. Giants, I tell you what, I don't think they've played anything special, Jay, on their CT side. It's more just alternate aTTaX playing so slow.
Finally, they'll get away with an opening kill this time. Fox to drop. The push up on the CT side will try and gain some sort of banana control in response to it. see how reactive Giants are towards the alternate attack side, and it's working well for them. Yes, they are losing HP, and eventually they are losing these frags, so could be opportunities presenting themselves. Now they're going to make their way around towards the short control. We've got Riz here against one player. Cressy to drop. Slacks goes dropping as well, but Riz dealt with on the short position. Now they can make their way on towards the A bomb, so they know exactly where Nope J is. So he's out of there. This will be a 7th for alternate attacks to at least close down. Oh no. They're running in towards the B site. Nope's going to catch Scrunk. This has got a force rotation back towards the A site here.
Yeah, look, for NoBJ, as soon as that info comes through, they go, right, we're going straight back over to A. Merbert's incredibly low. He's picked up that AWP, and it's got to be Stefan to really back up this clutch the best possible. And for NoBJ, I mean, even getting into Mexi to try and go out for the apartments, it's just all about getting there as quickly as possible. But at the same point, he doesn't want to be running, because as soon as he does, the information will come through.
Take that flying, and Stefan, the shoulder bait, is able to get out of dodge completely unscathed as well. So they're hearing coming in towards the short position, or mid, it will shut him down, and alternate attacks will make it an 8-7 half. And for a T side that you supposedly said that is monster from the German side, I've been impressed with a lot less, to be honest. Like, that was not very clean, I want to say, from the alternate attack side. A lot of rounds going so slow and so, you know, it's just so hit and miss, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's certainly, like, about the T sides, like, certainly in what I've seen, both teams have got really strong T sides. So for alternate attacks to only put that up in that kind of a fashion too, I think going into the second half, there are so many advantages and positives going the way of the Portuguese squad now.
Going into their T side half as well, where they could very well be able to dominate off the back of the pistol round. Like, alternate attacks are in a bit of a very bad spot here. The Giants looking to claim their map pick. It's taps up from Stefan, however, to do the early damage on towards Riz. No kills early on in this roundup, though.
Just maybe simple util sets towards B. I mean, they got 2 smokes, couple of flashbangs, get one out towards CT, get one out to coffins, and just commit completely. Don't worry about faking and drawing out rotations and what have you. Just the complete commitment coming through. 2 players on the site already, and rotations coming through.
3 players seen towards the grill area. Skrunk's tagged low. Backup is on the way. Riz is tagged extremely low. And now Skrunk's got to do it all on his own. He gets rounded up by PR and Fox. Cressy will get boosted up trying to land that bomb plant position. He may have seen one close range, but they plant safe in the first box position. 5-on-3 situation. Alternate attacks here on the pistol round. Not even getting their third player to rotate to them. They want to save their Kevlar.
Yeah. I think that Merbert was maybe anticipating a bit of a lurk play, that they get the bomb down at B and then you've just got one player that's coming around CT, but they don't see anything, and it gets to a position where 3-on-5, I mean, are you really going to win it? You don't have a kit, don't have any util. Might as well just hold on to the Kevlar. It tells me that they're going to be forcing into that next round anyway. I mean, pretty much all teams are force buying in second round after losing the pistol on CT, but it at least gives them a little bit more. They don't have to buy into that body armor. A 9th round up for Giants, and I tell you what, Jay, simple Counter-Strike. That's all we've seen from the Giants today. We haven't seen anything fancy. I think we've just seen very structured, some CS. We've seen some really good trading coming out from them, and I actually like sometimes just seeing a team that doesn't try and play all the mind games and pull out the double fakes and double pumps and stuff like that. It's just been really smooth to watch from the Giants.
Yeah, and again, alternate attacks have just been falling for those basic strategies, which isn't a whole lot of hope for me. SMG and Mirbit is going to be taking that first face out towards the short control. Deagle's in for Slacks, sees where PR is coming in first and knows that those AKs are out. Obviously, force play coming in for the CT caps. Smokes down. Suppressing them from the long control, but as soon as it clears, you can imagine Giants will be able to storm their way through and just rip apart any of these weapons. Slacks is seeing one player of Fox, but that contact forced him to go passive. They might lean into B.
Oh, no SMGs coming out for the Giants either, Jay. It's just all rifles, AKs and Galils. So it means that they are going to be pretty limited when it comes to the utility, which can be a bit of an issue, especially if they go for a B-side Xe. Resmo coming through, good time on that, just under the 50-second clock, and they're bringing a third player over. This could actually get pretty deadly here at BJ, especially with Scrunk having another incendiary and smoke on this CT side. They could just waste time.
30 seconds. Let's see what alternate attacks can do. Smokes have gone down. Scrunk ready with the incendiary to try to stop them from making their way any further forward here. There is a rack stab from Fox. They haven't accounted for this. One player will make his way back. Cressy with the Deagle shot will turn around that one frag. Galil in for his catches. One going to burn a little bit. The Deagle can come up for Cressy. Get that AK in instead. 2 kills for him. 4v3 alternate attacks. Might not have a kit, but they got a major man advantage until PR goes ahead and does that. 3-on-3 now, making it 2. Slacks gets it back to 2v2. And still AKs to play with. One picked up for Slacks now. Where do alternate attacks go from here?
Well, the thing is, they just need to try and work together. I mean, it's difficult when they're coming in from 2 different angles, but trying to set up a crossfire the best that they can. Slacks is going to get caught off, and it's all down to Stefan. He knows the info on where both players are. OBJ out towards Dark. Good body shot coming through. A chance to be able to try and bait NoBJ out into the open. Deagle coming out, but no. OBJ balls are still doesn't peek down, but no kid. Even with the shot coming through from Stefan, it's still not enough. But for alternate attacks, Jay, with everyone going down and they pick up an AK, this is a chance for another 4 buy from the city side.
It's a good shot from Stefan, at least. He can be happy with that one. Wearing down all the Giants players and forcing them all to rebuy in that one. That's going to be actually a good long-term pickup for alternate attacks, but the defensive unable to hold on the B bomb site. Will they force buy around the AK-47? They have the option of doing so.
No.
And it might be a good call considering there's a lot of MAC-10s in play for the Giants going to try to recover some of their economy basis. But no foresight. Just the upgrade pistol with the Deagle coming in. Pass over to Cressy, I believe, from Stefan's part. Slack's going to get another one on the P250 for Mirbit. No Kevlar, no utility around this, and they're playing out their defaults here.
And that's one of the big things, Jay, is when you go into an anti-eco where you don't have SMGs or what have you, it means you're very limited on the utility, and that's what we saw in the last round. At least we're seeing a lot more coming out. 4 MAC-10s for the T side, and it looks like it's just going to be an app spot for the Ts.
And 2 quick frags for the MAC-10s as a result of it. Tagged up for Fox and PR. So there's opportunities for putting themselves there for alternate attacks. But they need to get these kills in somewhat soon, else they're going to get overwhelmed. And indeed, they're going to get pushed out of the A bomb site. Burst through against Stefan, gets that AK to drop as well. So ideally, someone wants to swing back to that mid position, grab that weapon, save it into the next round. And Strong's going to try and get that to that angle. But unfortunately, they're all going to get picked apart here. So all 5 alive for the Giants side. Plenty of MAC-10 kills as well, so that's going to be a money regained here for the T-side line. All the damage that was done by alternate attacks in that last one is just going to be for naught.
Yeah, look, it's all about at least finding a bit of a response, right? I mean, you have a look at some of the kills. I mean, you've got Scrunk on just 3 kills over on the City side. Riz, I think he's on, or OBJ, I should say, on 3 as well for the Giant squad. Alternate attacks need to find a bit of a response here. This is proper quick coming out for PR. Look at this with the MAC-10.
Wow.
He's been able to just open up B with a spray transfer, running and gunning even through the flames. That is ridiculous pace coming out for the Giants. And well, that's an instant save. They've already opened up B. Alternate attacks just going to save.
A MAC-10. All they needed to rip them apart. I don't think Stefan or Scrunk had head Kevlar either, so just to highlight how much money they've really gained, how much value they've gained out of those SMGs. 2 free M4s. Yes, they are M4s on the T side, but that's still rifles you don't have to buy into the next round with. An alternate attacks have got to change the pace here. We haven't seen any tactical pauses so far in this matchup, but there's one to come out from the German side. It would be right about now, I'd say.
You've got to think so. Yeah, you really have got to think so. I mean, this second half, they've just lost complete control. We certainly saw maybe not the best of performances from them over on their T side, but if they just let this draw on, we're just going to see more rounds go in the way of Giants because they've just looked so convincing. I mean, look at this, Jade, like running up Banana and just no one's ready for it. Just straight, bullets. Easy as that. Doesn't get much more simple.
The force buy will come back around against these rifles that were saved. AWP's in, fast plays out towards the second mid area. You can see Slacks is backing up immediately, knowing that there's still MAC-10s in play, so there's still danger for those rush tactics. Shots on, connects towards Riz, does not take him out, just good for a tag. Rotates towards the library area. The 3 players out towards long, and they get challenged by Cressy. He takes out that 1 frag, looks for PR on the next face up, but he gets taken out. Boxer follows suit on a player towards short, and now 1 out towards pit in Mirbit. A lot of work to do. Taken out by NoPJ. And Scrunk will find 1 response here to a 3v2, but it's still favored to the Giants side. Alternate aTTaX up for the retake here. As the bomb goes down, they'll nade out the player in pit, but they can't get the frag on him.
I tell you what, I'll be surprised if they go for this, Jay. 2v3, I think it's better off just saving. You've got that AWP that's saved in from Slaxers over to Stefan, and yeah, get out of there. It's just not worth it. Pick up an M4, get rid of the FAMAS, and that sound cue probably gives the information up for Giants that they know the alternate attacks are saving. And I kind of go off the philosophy, right, that when you're in situations where you're down a man advantage or you don't have util or things like that, it is better off saving. But at the same point, you can't just keep saving, right? Because if you keep saving, you just keep losing rounds. There's got to be a point for alternate attacks, even if they are in a disadvantage, where they go, you know what, let's just risk it because we have to get rounds up on the board.
Alternate aTTaX yet to get around here so far in the second half. With the way that the Giants are playing, you can imagine that unless they do something massive here, they're just not really going to have much of a chance to do anything here on CT. A couple of nades down will do some damage to OBJ and Riz, so that's you know, a decent start, but it's no kills for the CT side. Nothing that will turn a major advantage their way, and Giants happy to work off the defaults despite the damage being posted on their board. Play that towards the banana and the apartments area. Very split across the map here.
A bit of a fun fact as well, Jay. In the Swiss round 1 game for alternate aTTaX against Project X, we saw a 16-2 victory on Inferno, their map pick. This certainly is not looking like the same kind of outcome against the CIS squad like it is against the Portuguese today. And for the Giants, maybe just leading themselves up towards this banana execution into the B bomb site. You've got Scrunk and Stefan to try and hold between them. No one's really in a rotating position. I mean, Cressy could be the quickest player over from long, boosting a player up towards the flower pot. Stefan needs to quickly get back towards coffins before the Xe comes through.
Time's ticking. Scrunk turning away. Going to play anti-flash on this one. Turn away. See 3 players and get overwhelmed by them all. Stefan does so much damage, but doesn't get away with a frag. Cressy gets an exit, but they're going to have to save with this one. That's going to allow Giants to go to 14. And alternate aTTaX really, really not showing the stuff here on CT side.
Surely you've got to go for that. Like, surely. Now, if this was maybe like a 10-10 scoreline, let's just say, I would 100% be like, yeah, save. It's the right call. But you're down 7-13, and you're in a 1-man disadvantage. How are you not going for that retake? Like, you can't just keep saving. Alternate aTTaX have not been able to get a single round on this second half. And so many of these rounds, Jay, I don't even think have been close. That's probably your best chance to go in for the retake, knowing that you've got util, you've got kits. I don't know. I think they should have gone for that. Even though they weren't in rotating positions, even though they were in a man disadvantage, just try your luck at it. You know, go big or go home.
And we talked a little bit in the pregame about how alternate aTTaX have sort of fallen off since the summer.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see why here. Like, they're playing with such a level of unconfidence here against the Giants. A team that you would give alternate aTTaX a decent shout to at least be competitive against, but this is not a competitive scoreline whatsoever. And it's becoming a major, major problem for the Germans. Information given up to the Giants side as finally OBJ tries to go aggressive, but sees nothing towards the second mid area. The T side are not going to give him anything. Damage being done to Riz, minimal amounts. That HE landing on NoPJ is going to be much better. And we'll get the apartment's control, though.
It's actually pretty interesting to think that they actually played T-sides very similar to how Saw do, another Portuguese team that's been on a bit of a rise this year. I'm sure there's a bit of a rivalry between both of those two teams, but even Slacks with the AWP looking down towards Mex, he didn't quite get the timing on that. And for alternate attacks, where's the change up, Jay? Where's the hyper-aggressive? Where's sort of taking banana control or taking apartments or maybe having Slacks with a little bit more freedom? I speak about him having freedom. Fox is able to deal with him.
Nade on Cressy, landing to an OPJ. 24 points of health.
Oh, I like this.
Fox making his way in towards the library position. Strong's going to try and aggress to his position. 5 on 4. Molotov's down. Flashes over. PR going to take some damage, but Fox takes the fall. Cressy comes up with those 2 kills. 2 more on the short control, and Mirbit lines those guys up. Now Riz standing alone in a 1-on-4 scenario. Bomb doesn't get picked up, looks towards Mirbit's position, but Mirbit gets away with a 3K. And finally, alternate attacks start looking good here on the CT side. It's only 1 round, though. They're first of the half. They still need 6 to come back to evens. 8 to try and steal the match away from Giants.
I just don't know if those kills are bugs. Like, is it really OBJ only with 3 kills and Scrunk with 4? I mean, that just seems way too low, considering we're already finished 22 rounds of this game. But look, for alternate attacks, a much better round, Jay. Much, much better. Great crossfire being set towards a pit, mini pit position. They find a couple of kills each. And for alternate attacks, that may just be the round to give them that confidence to come back. The thing is it too late?
Honestly, thinking about what we've seen so far, it's never been OBJ or Scrunk taking the full brunt of full brunt of the kills for their respective sides. So
yeah, that's true.
Stefan taking that first face up with a double orb setup here for alternate attacks. I think the first time they've been able to afford it here. It's Cressy out towards the mid control, gets that player on towards the brackets area. Nice nade on OPJ and PR as well. So damage done, first frag found. Will they get a second one to follow up?
And just regrouping here, Giants, realizing, okay, the default towards brackets didn't quite work out. You've got Stefan with that double orb. Oh, just falls back. An opportunity to maybe boost Scrunk up towards a new box position. Smoke going down. Great re-smoke on that because Giants either have to wait or push forward.
And they're going to push straight through it. Flash is coming in. Molotov's around. 1 player towards that second box position. First box, I should say. Scrunk's going to get taken out. The crossfire locked out. Cressy gets 1 kill. His second in a 3 versus 3. Riz is so low, but they don't have a HE they can put towards that copper's position. So they're going to get the bomb down right here, right now. Retake up for the alternate attacks. And 2 players watching this position here towards the construction entrance. Cressy rounds that corner. He's in for a rude awakening. They're all watching this angle, actually.
Yeah.
Better draw their attention over to the main cross, because that's where the CTs are coming in from. Shoulder baiting, tags up PR, still keeps their attention drawn back. You know, Incendiary's come up, they turn their attention towards the main cross, and Riz gets 2 frags with OBJ in the back lines locking up Slacks, and somehow all 3 players watching the exact same angle work for the Giants side. They're on that point.
I don't think I've ever seen a post-plant played like that before from Giants.
Nope.
Normally in a 3v3, you've got someone maybe towards top banana, you've got someone new box, then maybe someone coffins or pillar or dark. No time have I ever seen 3 players pretty much in a line, all looking at the same position. But, Jay, it works out. There's more eyes on the contact coming out from Church. And from there, alternate attacks don't bring out the retake. Slacks invests into the AWP again. So does Stefan. Even gets a little bit of damage, but does escape out of there without going down.
Mirbit taking out PR to start. No BJ taken out on the second frag there towards the apartments. 2 more kills for alternate attacks to add to their tally, but it's out of many they need to get back to overtime at this stage. Unfortunately for them, Giants are running straight into the kills. Riz will get 1 trade back on Scrunk. Got to isolate Stefan. If he can take him down, that'll be a chance to enter in towards the B side. Sees that AWP baiting left and baiting right. Molotov lands inside the fountain as it hits the wall and gets taken out in the end. Fox last man standing. Mirbit gets his 3K. And well, an unexpected round going the way of alternate attacks. Giants just kind of running straight into positions and getting ripped apart.
That was so awkward. It was like, right, this is my time to get the molly out. Oh no, it's peeking. I'll go back to the weapon. Okay, hasn't peaked. Now I'm going to get the molly out. Oh, it's peaked again. So gets a little bit unfortunate with the timing a couple of times there. But look, for alternate attacks, they get a survival round. They bring it forward to 9. And you've got to think in this position, it's just all about, I don't know, looking at a round-by-round basis, seeing if you can get double digits and more. And look at the utility coming out towards the top of Banana. A bit of util damage actually goes the way of OBJ. A fair bit in the end, down to 29, but they at least do a response onto Scrunk and Stefan.
I believe it's a HP advantage taken by the Giants side, despite the amazing amount of damage done to the AWP, especially considering they're mostly on automatic riflers, so definitely not fantastic. A minute and 10 to go, and Scrunk takes that base and gets taken out for it. Stefan forced away. AWP desperate to find a frag, but the smoke goes up to protect Riz entering in from the cross. Bomb plant is going to be secured. And Riz will get Cressy next. 3 standing for alternate attacks. Have to go for the retake, else they will lose the game. AWP up for Stacks, looking back towards the back lines here, looking on towards that new box position. Nades on, not doing any damage. Ooh. That's a good kill, at least for one of the AWPers, but they need so much more than that. Mirby gets PR, actually. 3-on-3. Chance available. He's going to get no PJ as well. Snipes swings on Riz. This is a 5v3 post-plant, but Fox can still make this work. They've got a kit up, smokes down, spray through, not connecting to the man, and Stefan gets the kill. Alternate attacks. Clinging on to the edge of life, it feels like. The smallest thread to separate them from Giants and loss, and they get 10 to the board.
How has that happened? I just can't believe they retake in a 3-on-5 and Giants don't hold on to the post plant. That was fantastic. Some great crossfires being set, and you saw in every single engagement, they were baited into it. Giants now force buying into round 26, and I tell you what, Jay, even the buy, it's not looking that great.
It's a bit of a lopsided buy, actually, from them, because you've got guys like OPJ and OBJ who are buying down into like $50, $350, but you've got Riz, PR, and Fox who are going the Mac 10s, the Tech 9 route, and they've got like $2,000 on the float. So I feel like it was miscommunicated from Giants. That could cost them a couple of rounds if alternate attacks can take this next one here. A little over a minute to go. A flashbang in for what seems to be a fast play in towards the A bomb site. AWP is Slacks ready to receive. Fox misses the shot. And smoke down from PR. They line up sprays for Mirbit, but he does fall in the end. Cressy dealt with by no PJ. Oh no, a force by major shutdown alternate attacks for good in this match.
Oh, and it looked like they were just trying to give themselves a little bit of money in the reserve, Jay, and they've actually been able to really look like converting this round. It's a 3 versus 2. It's Scrunk and Stefan to come in for the retake, but we've seen what alternate attacks can do in these kind of positions in the past.
OBJ is so low. If they had a HE to put towards that site, the incendiary push towards the back shutters probably could force him to fall. PR looking for Scrunk. Spray through. There's the OBJ to drop next up. Shots on towards the apartment. Scrunk going to turn away. PR looking on towards Stefan here. Sees that AWP gets the shot. And OBJ coming up the defuse, being stuck right now. He can't swing on towards the back wall. And somehow alternate attacks from the back foot still manage to stay alive. Where has this team been all game?
That's the thing, right? It's like, how have we not seen alternate attacks playing like this before? Man, this has been 2 retake scenarios that you really wouldn't expect them to win. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's really, really great CS from alternate attacks. I'm just slowing it down. A Giants just peeking into so many of those angles. That shot from Stefan so quick. And now alternate attacks, well, they're 4 away to trying to bring it to 15-15, Jay.
They're on the warpath at this stage. Giants back up on the full AKs for this next round here. No AWPs, unfortunately. Has been very effective with those big green guns, but for now, they've got double ops out for alternate attacks. 1 place towards long, 1 place towards banana. It's very passive from the T side in those positions, though. No player going to swing out towards the brackets area. They've got that forward player up to the apartments, but that's basically it for the T-side aggression for the moment. Bomb not even able to commit right now. It's on the T-stairs. They will gain some brackets position, but no face into a CT member.
I like this passiveness coming out for alternate attacks, not looking to sort of retake brackets and fall into the trap of how many players are here from the Giants. They might actually fall back. Slacks will get a good timing on this, Jay, especially if he swings into the open.
Or faces, there's the kill. When do you expect to see an AWP swing like that and still find a frag and get away completely unscathed? OBJ tagged up, Fox leaning in towards the apartments, being watched there by Mirbit. He doesn't take base into position, puts a smoke down instead and tries to rotate away. They've got 2 players now pushing up towards the banana position. There's 30 seconds remaining to the clock. The flash is over. Gonna try and stall for extra time. They've got to make their way into the bomb site relatively quickly. That bomb's only just getting picked up now. It's got to make its way in towards the banana position. They've got to go for that hit. There's an AWP with Steffen and Skrunk with the M4 holding face. Slax takes out the last player towards the A lurk. So it's all left down to this B hit. AWP shot does not connect to the collateral, doesn't connect to anything. In fact, Riz drops and 5 seconds left. They're being stalled here. Giants are out of the round. They'll get those kills in, but they haven't got enough time for the bomb plant. So alternate attacks will take 12 here on the CT side.
I'm sorry, are we seeing Giants or alternate attacks on that T side just there? I mean, executing to B with 12 seconds left on the clock, it's too slow. And we haven't seen a round like that from Giants this entire half. They've been relatively quick getting into the sides. We have seen them maybe execute towards 30, 35 seconds, nothing lower than 20. And they go in with 12. Yeah, they get the kills, great, you find the trades, but have you got enough time to get the bomb down? No. That's ridiculous from Giants. And they've got to take a tactical pause to say, guys, like, we just need one round. Come on. Like, seriously, we're not going to OT. We can't go to OT. We do that, we're on the back foot. And for alternate attacks, things are starting to finally look good for them, Jay. And yeah, maybe it's coming at a late time, but at least it's not too late yet.
Well, they've been so good in the last few rounds to ensure their survival. They actually forced the first tactical pause from the Giants side. And again, they're going to run this weird sort of lopsided buy setup, the one that got them quite far in the, was it the 26th round, I believe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
When they had the 2 AKs and OPJ and OBJ, and the MAC-10s and everybody else. This time playing, going to try to do some damage. That nade's pretty good there. Placed up from Skronk, taking some damage back of his own right, but that's nothing compared to the damage done to Riz. AWP holding face here, better back off towards CT spawn as soon as he sees contact. Nades to position. Box takes a swing and a hit. Smokes back out. Fast plays coming in from the pistols. And the AK spray of Press. He can't do much from here. He needs desperate support here for Strong. He gets 2 frags. Unable to get the third back on no PJ, but knows he's suppressed it. Pistol comes out. Somehow does damage. Gets that frag back. Actually, TK from Fox, I should say. Taking out his teammate. And now on a 1 versus 2, needs to get that bomb from the fountain and get it planted to set up the post plant here against the CT side.
Oh, Mermit's already swinging out, and there it is. A 13th now out for alternate attacks. No bomb plan coming in for Giants. Really big hold there coming out from Skrunk. I think he's had a pretty rough time over on Inferno so far, Jay, but that round right there, he stalled for long enough. He was able to get a couple of kills. Even a TK came into the mix. You can really give him a 3K for that. Oh, boy. Round 29, and for Giants, they've got to convert. They've got to convert, or at least get a bomb plant going into round 30. The last thing we want to see from them is them going into round 30 with a MAC-10 buy.
Damage done early on in minimal amounts by the HEs. Not quite as significant as they have done to the banana defaults, but Giants out towards second mid. We're not given that luxury. Another fast hit coming through. AWP, but ready for this, but Slack's on scopes. That allows both BJ to come up with a frag. M4s can't seem to respond, and now they're getting overwhelmed. Giants finally find that formula to just hit the A site, take no prisoners, and set up a 5v2. This should be over.
Oh, just when the AWP shots don't come through. This round and even in the last from Steffen. And for alternate attacks, 2v5, you can pretty much just call it from here. Trying to see if they can go for it. We've seen these retakes in mad disadvantages, but 2v5, Jay, what do you reckon?
I don't think it's going to happen this time. They've brought us back from man disadvantages in the past, but unless they get all these kills completely untraded, well, there comes that trade. And PR will swing out to the last man. 16-13, Giants will eventually close their map pick, but alternate attacks brought it back to get some momentum going into Dust 2. It is a German map pick after this short break, so stick with us here on 9 to 5.
Initialize booting.